Hi, I'm Elle Fanning from Teen Spirit, and you're watching In Studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
First of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So you are starring in a new film called Teen Spirit, where you play sort of a shy teenager from a small town who enters the singing competition. Why was this character's story in particular something that you wanted to dive into, and that a story that you wanted to tell?
Yeah, I think I can relate. First of all, I've been looking for a musical for a long time, so I feel this checking that off of the bucket list for me, and I would be open to even doing more after this experience. But this particular story, I think I could relate to Violet's hunger and drive to achieve her passion and her dream, and also, I mean, in the business I'm in, and also especially like the music industry, there's a lot of rejection and a lot of people, there's a lot of no's. And the way that Violet dealt with that is something that also I've had to learn to deal with, and which is, you know, you have to gather yourself back up and find the passion again and find why you really want to do this and continue forward and stay your authentic self. Because I think Violet is a very authentic character. She is truly herself, and I think she's so uncompromising, and I think that's such a great message for young people nowadays, is you can achieve your dreams without being someone different or molding yourself into something that you think the world wants to see, when actually they want to see you be you. But there's a real kind of anger and grit to Violet that I loved kind of biting my teeth into.
Yeah.
I smile a ton, and like I'm really giggly, and people know that about me. And Max was like, don't do that. So he was like, with Violet, we wanted to create this character that isn't necessarily like the most popular girl in school or the most likable girl.
Yeah.
She's a true outsider, and she has kind of this hard shell. And I liked showing a girl.
Yeah,
that
it's
type
very
of girl.
different from you as as a person. Like you said, she's very internal and I don't know if I'd say brooding, maybe a little brooding.
Yeah. Angsty teen. Yeah.
And then when she finally does smile, it's such a relief
Rewarding,
watching it. You really feel like you earned it whenever you're watching it. Are you an American Idol fan? How did you sort of like? Did you watch these shows? Were you super into them?
I was someone. Yeah, because I watched Kelly Clarkson. I was like about 4 or so, but I watched those. The early seasons, and I watched it last night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, funny enough. So I love those shows.
Yeah.
And I think, but there's something, it's just that storyline, those movies, they're so cinematic. It's like, you know, the artists, whatever the artist may be, but that rise to stardom, we've definitely seen a lot of those films lately, or I guess it's Star is Born, I'm thinking, but that's just a classic. Everyone, they want to watch that, you know, especially with American Idol. It's like those are real people. They're not playing characters, but, you know, you can't help but tear up when they go back to their hometown. It gets you, you know, it really does.
Yeah. This is very different, though, because some people might see, you know, whenever you just label it it's not just a singing competition movie, though. It's not.
Yeah, it's not really necessarily about the singing competition, you know? It takes you behind the scenes of it a bit, but it's not about, the inner workings of a singing competition. It's,
And I think it's also a lot about, you know, your character, Violet, and the other character, Vlad.
Yes.
Can you tell me about, because, you know, as someone raised by her father, I felt like I was watching, it was just this very important relationship for both of them. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that relationship and what do you think it meant to each of them? Like, what did they feel for each other?
Yeah, that character in the relationship that they have, reading the script, that really, obviously, was such a big part of the movie, but it really stood out to me because I think there's that mentor character. It's a very authentic a real representation of those mentors that we have in our life, because this movie is like a fairy tale in a way, and he's like the fairy godfather, you know, and the father that Violet didn't grow up having, and those mentors sometimes, you know, you've had and even in my life, it's like they're there for that moment when you really need them, and they help you and they guide you along, and then sometimes they disappear, which, you know, sometimes I watch the movie and, I mean, Vlad is real, but I'm like, is he even real? You know, he's just kind of this magical figure, but also Violet brings out so much in him, and just that he needed to discover about himself. So they both help each other, which is the best mentor relationship. They're both giving to each other.
Yeah. And the movie is written and directed by Max Minghella, who most people probably know as an actor. I mean, this is his directorial debut. So he's most recently in The Handmaid's Tale. Was he a part of why you wanted to work on this? Like, what did you see in him whenever you were, signing on to the project? Like, what about him did you admire as a writer and director, and how did he affect you?
Well, it's so interesting because I was not on the radar for this part, of getting this part at all. Fred Berger, who I've worked with as a producer before, but he decided, I think they decided to do a press announcement without the film being cast, and it said, this movie will be directed and was written by Max Minghella, and it's about a girl from who is from a small town, goes on a singing competition, and I was like, what is this? Like, I've been looking for something to sing in, like, in my age, like, area. I'm like, this is crazy. So I kind of was the one that pursued him because people don't relate me to singing. And also they were looking at girls who could speak Polish and were from Poland. So I was not on the radar. So I had to prove myself, a bit to him and be like, I can do this. And he did send me the script. He's been working on this film for like 12 years. So you can tell when I met him, this was like the story that he wanted to tell, which is also so funny of him. He wanted to tell this story about a teenage girl with pop music, but he's a huge pop fan, like seriously. So this is the movie that I want to do. But when talking to him, we just had the same vision of how we saw the movie. We really just saw it in the same way. And I had seen this documentary called Girl Model, which I actually think this is part of the reason I got the part, because I saw this documentary and then I read the script and I was like, oh, this reminds me a lot of Girl Model. And he was like, that was a huge inspiration for the story. So I'm like, wow, great. I earned some points there. But it's so in his blood, directing, and I can it's something that he just is so comfortable on a film set and knows exactly each shot. And he's like an encyclopedia of all films. He's seen so many films.
So you speak in some Polish, you have an accent, and you're singing in this movie.
Yes.
That's a lot for you to take on.
Yes.
Do you sort of like those kinds of challenges as an actress?
I do, yeah. I feel like I'm always drawn to a challenge, and I feel like I also work the best when I'm scared and when I'm the most under pressure. Like if it's a high pressure situation, I feel like there's this need for me to conquer it or something.
You kind of can't mess up because you're also performing in front of a huge crowd towards the end, like one of
towards
the last scenes.
Which is funny. Like I was joking earlier that there are, a bunch of, background that we paid to watch me sing. Maybe one day it'll be the other way around, that they'll pay to watch me. But it was live performances, and getting ready for that was also different because Marius de Vries, who's the music supervisor, I would work with him every day. For 3 months I would go and sing through every song, and Violet's not a performer yet, so and we don't film the movie in chronological order, so you have to make sure that you're in Violet. It's like, even if you want to dance out and be perfect, it's like, no, she's not perfect at this point. So sometimes we would be oddly holding back at times until we could fully go out, go full on.
Because when it is chronological, you want to see that progression.
Of course, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And how did you find her voice? Because I know you're a singer.
Yeah.
Even though people might not, until now, anyways, realize that you are a singer. But how did you sort of find her voice as this character? And do you think is it different at all from your own voice? How did you find that?
It is a bit different from my voice, because I would put my voice, I don't know, more in maybe, I don't know if I would be a pop singer if I sang. I don't know, everyone has different tones, but I feel like I'm a little more folky, like country folky. So this was different for sure, but it was a big question, is like, does she sing in an English accent or not? Because she is English, but we decided, because a lot of people, you do listen, you're like, oh, they're English, like sometimes they sing and they don't sound that way. They just kind of take on a different tone. And we decided not to have that because Violet would be trying to emulate all of these pop stars that she's hearing. And Max wanted me to lower my voice a bit, not in the singing, not necessarily in the songs, but in her regular voice when I was singing in the English accent. And also, Polish is a quite harsh language.
Yes.
So there's like, you know,
And
all
it's
of that.
like guttural. It's
It
like
is,
like
yes. And it does not sound anything like I'm really also used to hearing. It's not a language that I hear often. So it was nice. Agnieszka, who plays the mom in the film, she is a Polish woman and Polish actress, and so she helped me with that. But I think when you're speaking so not like yourself, it's like the singing, it does come out different ultimately. Dua Lipa, Dua Lipa was she was like an inspiration a bit for the character, because she has a similar story. Not that she did a singing competition, but she's from England in like a smaller town, and she has like some swag to her.
Yeah.
I think Violet has like that swag.
Is there anyone from the soundtrack or that you got to collaborate with a little bit that you were most excited to sort of have your name attached to?
I feel like Wildflowers, even though it wasn't performed, it's the original song of the movie, but working with Jack Antonoff was like, what is happening? Like, this is so cool, because every pop song that I know, he's basically written every single, earworm that we hear on the radio, and he's so talented. He's seriously a genius, and I got to sit in the studio with him and see him work, and where he recorded the Lorde album and the Taylor Swift album. They're like, oh yeah, they were all here, and I was like, this is just mind-blowing, because it's also very out of my element too. So going into that world and having my name on a song that he wrote with Carly Rae Jepsen too is like, that was probably the coolest.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And everyone, you can watch Teen Spirit in select theaters on April 12th and nationwide April 19th.